Hi to all beautiful souls out there who are tuning in today. I'm Remy here. I'm an entrepreneur and a life coach. Welcome to 30 Minutes Exploring Coaching, a channel where world-class coaches gather to share their wisdoms and insight on coaching and you for the benefits of all. Today, I'm delighted to have with me here someone who's originated from Cambridge, England, who has been residing in Sydney for the past 17 years, an unattached mom to a lovely daughter, a registered nurse, a trainer, and someone who loves sunshine and some groove when there's a tune being played. A person who is so passionate about her involvement in community projects like assimilating refugees to Australia, helping the homeless, and raising the awareness on suicide prevention. Wow, I would like to applaud her for her effort in the areas of life that's not only bring love and joy in during the festive season, right? Especially to the needy out there. Excellent work. So, Coach Emma, if there's anything that I have missed out, perhaps that you would like to share to our beautiful audience out there, the space is yours.
No, thank you, Remy. What a gorgeous introduction. I am so excited about being here with you and exploring coaching in 30 minutes. I think any opportunity to try and get the word out there as to what coaching is and how it can benefit the public in society is always a good thing. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Just to add a little bit of flavour. So yeah, I think you touched on quite a few things there. Certainly well-travelled, had lots of different life experiences. And I've got my daughter, and my daughter is 11. I've been separated from her father for about 9 years now. And yeah, find myself here on the sunny shores of Australia. It was purely the sun that got me here. And now I'm, just loving it, especially on days like today where, I had a message from my mum with a picture of back in Cambridge, absolute snow, covered head to, everywhere covered in snow. So yeah, love being here in Australia. Thank you again for that lovely introduction.
Lovely to have you here with us here, Coach Emma. Well, can you please share with us here? I'm sure that you have been coaching for some time and helping a lot of people out there. Can you please share with us the specific group of people that you mostly help them with your coaching work?
Yes. Yeah. So it is, from my experiences, it's actually people who are very similar to kind of the journey that I've been on. So I attract men, women, different cultural backgrounds, but mainly at the moment I seem to be attracting busy single parents. Now I say single, I kind of prefer the word unattached because I think it's got a few less connotations. But they're basically parents who are feeling challenged and overwhelmed, Remy. They feel confused about the separation, maybe. They feel a little bit lost. They're not really sure where they're at. And they really need someone who has the compassion and the empathy to sit with them, to be with them, to create the space with them, to really listen and, help them forward on their journey so they can thrive. And actually, be the true person that they want to be. Yeah.
So, okay, before we move on to the maybe a single dad, right? Let's focus on this single women who is like, they have their children to raise and all that single-handedly. So for women in this category, not all, but I would say many, in my own opinion, are being easily emotionally charged, especially by their exes. Just need someone a friend's, a relative, or what, to mention their ex or their ex's name, and you can sense that, wow, it's like there's a World War III coming in,
Yes.
in their mind, or if at the back of their head, that wow, it seems to that we feel very uncomfortable and all that. So
Mm,
emotions like anger, upset, frustrations, those kind of emotional instability just arise. So
yeah.
if this group of women were to engage a coach, a life coach, into their life, in what way can a coach help them in the
Oh,
areas of emotions?
in so many ways, Remy. So many ways. Yeah. It's just, I mean, first of all, that person is coming to you, hurting, in pain, with anyone that has emotions that they're expressing very strongly outwardly, there's definite pain there that they're feeling. So I mean, really, whatever the issue is that the client is coming to you with, a coach's role and how coaches can really differ from seeing, other counselors or therapists is they sit there and they actually, first of all, ask permission to actually have the conversation, to actually get invited into that person's world. And then they would be creating a rapport with the client, through so many different ways. They can pace the client, they can acknowledging what the client has been through. So I know when I was first separated from my daughter's father, I was so angry. I was really emotionally charged. I was hurt. I was kind of questioning, why has this happened to me? I didn't expect it really. I kind of thought forever was on the cards. All that emotion that then all the stories you tell yourself that really builds up inside you. So with a coach, we can actually use neuro-linguistic programming called metadynamics, which is a framework that really helps the coach to assist the client to really feel into that emotion, feel where it is in their body. And then through some exercises, through feeling where it is. So, say if it was anger, it might be in my chest. And these are all subconscious feelings that usually the client possibly hasn't stopped and actually felt physically. They've just been in their brain, just thinking all these feelings and kind of swirling around. But with a coach, you can actually stop. And when the space is created, you're acknowledged, you're feeling heard. You can actually feel into your body and feel where that emotion is. And then the coach, using some NLP techniques, neuro linguistic programming, can help you to release those emotions so that you feel so much lighter. And if you feel lighter, that emotion's not there anymore. It just means that you can function a lot more. You can think about what you want to do and how you want to do things so much more, well, it's just so much better. It's so much a higher kind of functioning level. Yeah. So there's lots of different, in terms of the emotion, that releasing of the emotion is the most important thing first, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult to heal it. Yeah.
Has this coaching session got anything to do with like things like cognitive behavioral therapy? Has it got any link with this CBT that is quite popular out there?
Yeah, I mean, it has in a way. Neuro-linguistic programming is kind of, it's a branch on from CBT. It is, it's a more recent way of thinking. And metadynamics, which is the framework that's been created by Remy Pearson, who's the founder of the Coaching Institute. It's a scientifically proven method whereby they use NLP as a basis to then advance different other models to really help move people, forward to the life that they really want to be, to feel better within themselves. CBT is generally used by counselors, psychologists, etc., where you kind of very much look back at how you were. NLP is more looking forward, and it's kind of reprogramming your neurons, neuro-linguistic programming, as it says. It's reprogramming your neurons on a deep level so that they react and act differently to situations going forward. So it's much more forward thinking than CBT.
So basically, the difference between a coaching and a therapy, a session is like maybe coaching more work on now and towards where a person is heading.
Yeah, that's it. It's much more future facing and action, action driven. So, I mean, there's lots of exercises and lots of frameworks. The coach has many tools in their box, different frameworks and models which they can use to really ask very deep questions that, that really aid the client to think about things in a different way, and in a different way, which will then affect, if they change their thinking, that will then change your belief, and that will change the way you act, your behavior. So that's really kind of how it differs. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, in my opinion, Coach Emma, I have come across some single moms who have been through like what you have been through. And to them, that for those that don't have high self-esteem, they will perceive this route as so-called failure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a failure. I failed in my relationship. And they seems to lost their sense of belonging here. So how can coaching help them to gain their confidence level back or to build up their self-esteem for themselves so that they are being able to put themselves out there in a magical thing called dating again?
Yeah, crikey. I mean, that's probably the last thing that comes, upon someone's mind when they first separate, dating. Oh, Lord, if they're anything like me. Yeah, I think there's a lot of feelings of, really feeling like, like I said before, this wasn't really meant to happen, maybe. Maybe they're surprised by finding themselves separated. Maybe they're angry about it. They kind of saw themselves as somebody that was going to be in a partnership for the rest of their life. And certainly there is some thinking and socialization in society where, people are expected almost to be in partnerships. Like, we kind of, we think that, that you kind of have these steps. We have, you get married at a certain age and you have children, and, then you have another child, and then you buy a bigger house, all these kind of like silly, really, socializations and stereotypes that we have. So when, these women, these men find themselves single, they can feel a bit like they're judged, judged by society for failing, for not succeeding at something that perhaps the majority is seen, if they're in a partnership, to be, to be doing well. So yeah, I think that's a really hard. I think, again, it's really a coach sitting with the client and really, first of all, acknowledging the space that they're in and acknowledging the fact that they've actually come for coaching, because that is a huge step forward. It takes a lot of bravery for somebody to step outside their normal life and to go, I need some help and I want to go and see a coach. I think once they're with you, the active listening that a coach can give the client, to really work on, their belief system, maybe the patterns of speech they have, really listening for those patterns of speech, listening generously, listening with curiosity and with playfulness. I think then the client can really feel, a lot more relaxed in themselves and a lot more just heard, really. So many people never feel heard, We just all yap, yap, yap at each other.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
no one is actively listening, which, there's listening for what is being said and there's listening for what is not being said. And then really trying, the coach is really trying to hear the truth. And if there are these patterns of conversation, the coach can actually just, with some gentle questioning, really, question some of that thinking, like such as, above the line and below the line thinking. So if a client comes to me and they have a fear of, they kind of feel like a failure, I would be thinking, is that, and I'd be talking to them about above the line and below the line thinking, which is really, as it says, above the line is all very kind of positive, goal approached, looking to the future, being in charge of, what you're doing rather than being affected by it. Whereas below the line thinking is much more negative, kind of stuck in cycles, looping, storytelling, not really that constructive to moving forward. So with a fear of failure, if you can change that thinking to above the line thinking, and I think by seeing a coach, you just get those little kind of reminders on a weekly basis or fortnightly basis, however often you see your coach. That can really help with turning those thinking patterns around and changing them. There's also, there's lots of other models that can certainly help, but I'm sure we'll talk about some of those as we go forward.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Coach Emma, now that you have painted some picture about what coaching is all about and how coaching can help a person, but for a layman, or let's say I'm a single dad or single mom out there who has been living below the line in terms of due to the circumstances of what I have been through mentally, I'm emotionally down and all that. So in your coaching term, you call it like been staying below the line. So I've been laying below the line for some time and it had become part of my life. So what is the first step that I can take in order for me to step, not to say that so high up above the line, but at least above the ground of this line here, in order for me to reach out to a coach and say that I need coaching? What is the first step that I can take, Coach Emma?
So the first step in terms of, knowing that you need help, I think that can be very different for everyone. I think how you feel and how you get to the point of finding a coach is very different for every person. I think really, there's something I know for myself. I've had coaching in the past. I've had, lots of coaching years before I became a coach. And the thing for me was I just felt there was something missing. There was something that my thought patterns, my thinking just wasn't helping me. So I think, the first step really is reflecting inward and really taking some time to listen to yourself and to really, feel like I was talking about before, feel your emotions into your body. I think if you do that and you really listen to yourself and what your mind is saying and what your body is saying, then that will give you a clear picture of, whether you need to go and see a coach or a counselor or, have a chat with just a friend. I mean, obviously the difference with a coach is they are there to help you move forward, whereas a friend is quite subjective. They might just have a chat over a cup of coffee and, take sides. If you're talking about relationships and relationship breakdowns, there's usually some side taking that goes on.
Yes.
So, if you turn to a coach, if you employ a coach like myself, we are 150% there for you, but we're not going to get lost in the story. We're not going to get lost in all the detail of he said this and she said that and this happened and that happened. We will, we really get stuck into the emotions, into your belief system, into your values, into what's really important to you. And those things will bring about the change that you want and that you need in order to move forward and be able to thrive, and to feel like you are the person that you really want to be and the person that you can be.
Yeah. Yes. Well said, Coach Emma. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pain in relationship breakdowns.
Yes.
It definitely takes a time. Like I said, I've been separated for 9 years, and my journey has been, very undulating, I would say. I've had a lot of different experiences. A lot of different things happened in that time. I started off co-parenting with the father just down the road, and then he moved away, far away. So then I was 100%, looking after my daughter. There's a lot of feelings that come up, and there's a lot of different, a lot of different scenarios that one has to deal with. But having a coach there by your side can truly make all the difference and make that journey so much, well, just less painful, so much more joyful,
I think non-judgmental is the key word here, right? A person,
Non-judgmental, yeah. That's it. No assumptions,
yeah,
just open-hearted love for who you are, as an individual. Because we really are all trying to do the best we can with what we've got, with the tools we've got. So it's really helping to bring that compassion into the coaching conversation with the client, and trying to bring that forgiveness. So, forgiveness is a huge part of the journey.
yes,
Forgiving, there might be numerous people to forgive, and we can do lots of different beautiful exercises to release that, to release that emotion and to get that forgiveness, not only for maybe your ex-partner, maybe for, your parents-in-law, maybe, and most of all, for yourself.
yes,
It's having that forgiveness for yourself that is the most beautiful gift to give yourself.
definitely, right? When you mention all this forgiveness thing, the work to be done and all that, if I, as a parent, right, be it a dad or a mom, if I were to do it alone, it's going to be a very, very tough and lonely journey for me. However, if I were to engage a coach, well, the coach will be like my compass, my true north.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Totally. And, we can, it's not all kind of serious, questions and sitting there and, all about life. Like there's lots of acknowledgement, there's lots of joy, there's lots of celebration in coaching sessions. It's life is there to celebrate, and every step you take, that client takes, that needs to be acknowledged. It's not, it's not so much that I think really the person is not so much alone, it's making them feel like they're not alone.
Yes.
They're just not attached to somebody else in a relationship, because I think being alone there's such a connotation to that, single, alone, lonely.
Yes.
It's not far off. Whereas I think there's a lot of joy and a lot of celebration in being unattached, in finding the life that you want to lead, in doing exactly what you want to do. It's really the biggest challenge is finding that balance between, being a parent and being a single parent, looking after the child by yourself some of the time, or possibly all the time, to then finding this new life that, finding yourself and finding who you are. And that balance of those two, a coach can, hugely help you with that. Hold your hand, steer you, help you along the way.
There's
Yeah.
Coach Emma. Well, from what I hear, is that you've been through a lot. Like just you mentioned, your ups and downs like a roller coaster ride. There's one area which I find that is very sensitive to maybe single mom or single dad out there, which
Mm,
is the family judgment area.
mm, yes.
Could you please like maybe share your perspective on this to those out there
Yes.
who are allergic to this so-called family judgment?
Family judgment. I mean, I touched on it before. I think, you can certainly have I think like I said, when relationships break down, there can be a lot of turmoil. And it's not just between, the couple, it can certainly be between the whole families. They really are kind of separating, which is huge impact on, particularly if there's children involved. So I have quite a lot of clients that come to me and they have quite a lot of guilt about the separation, first of all, because of that separation of the family. There's a lot of, I think there's a lot of couples that stay together purely for the children, when the love has been lost. Now, whether or not that's right or wrong, it's more, that's not for me to say, but in terms of the clients, when they come and they feel this pressure. And then there's also the aspect of them actually, their own family, and the judgment from their own family as to have they made the right decision. Maybe their mum didn't think it was the right decision at all. And so it causes all this relationship tension, all these old patterns, all this tribal cycle that, can certainly come up for all of us, where, we've kind of learned these certain ways of reacting in certain situations, from our childhood. And a lot of them have been passed down, through the generations, of ways that we behave when we're spoken to in a certain way, or roles that we take on. And certainly if there's any confrontation within a family, that's just a recipe for a lot of these people-pleasing, good girl, rebel, all these things just to come out. So a coach is very experienced with such, situations, behaviors, values, models, to really help work through them. One that springs to mind straight away is the core crud crust model,
Yes.
which is just one of my absolute favorites. When I speak to clients about it, they love it. They get it immediately. I'm sure you love it, Remy, as well.
Yes. Well, Coach Emma, being mindful of the time,
Yes.
if there's one key message that you would like our beautiful audience here to have, or to single mom or be single dad, what would be your beautiful message be to them?
Oh, my message, Remy, would be you are whole and able. That's it. They are whole and able. They are complete with who they are. There is nothing missing within them. They are capable and able to do anything they want. Yeah. You are whole and able.
Beautiful. You're whole and able.
Yeah.
That's a very strong message to our beautiful listeners or audience out there.
Yeah.
So to all who are listening or tuning in right now, if you feel that what Coach Emma shared or what we discuss and talk about, you resonate, or there are challenges that you're feeling at this moment, you feel stuck, never ever feel that you're alone in this journey. Feel free to reach out to Coach Emma or to Coach Remy here. and our emails or our link below. Right? Feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help and guide all of you here. Reach out to us. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Coach Emma, for your valuable time. We love you, and see you next time in 30 Minutes Exploring Coaching. Bye bye.